together a Jewish-Arab social movement. In London, Yossi Meckelberg, Associate Fellow of Middle East and North Africa Program at Chatham House. And in Dublin, Yasser Al-Ashqar, Assistant Professor at Trinity College, Dublin, and academic member of the Center for Palestine Studies at University of London, SOAS. A warm welcome to you all. Sally, let me start with you today. From your perspective, is what we're seeing here the beginnings of a third intifada?
I don't think you're going to get an answer from me, a yes or no answer. I'm going to tell you what feels different this time.
All right, what feels different this time?
This time, I think we have accumulation of many, many things that are happening. In the past few years, we are seeing a tremendous development in the settler movement in Israel. They are settling in mixed cities, such as Akka, such as Lod, Jaffa, Eastern Jerusalem. Eastern Jerusalem is really a very, very special case, but really, they are going into Israel, not occupied territories according to international law, and they are actually settling there and creating many provocations. These things are happening, and they are, escalating from time to time. And in recent months, it really has escalated both in Jaffa, in Lod, and in Ramle. That's one thing that's happening. The second thing is happening is the nation-state law. The nation-state law, or what Israelis call the nation-state law, has really shifted the conversation for Palestinians in Israel. It really has shifted the narrative of the people, or weakened the narrative that many Jewish Israeli politicians and leaders have tried to create, which is, the narrative of the Arab Israelis, or the fact that we are a democratic country where we enjoy full rights, and there is no contradiction between a Zionist and a democratic state, and that the nation-state law really made that very deep break in that narrative. Which many Palestinians in Israel has really grasped on. It has to do with many things that we can go on, but we should, you could ask me about that later, of why many Palestinians really.
Sure.
But let's not go into that. A third thing is the fact that we are seeing that there are very, very violent extremists who are affiliated with violent organizations that has been elected to the Israeli Knesset, and who are seen as legitimate, representatives of the Israeli public. These people are, such as Ben Gvir and Smotrich, who are, these attacks, the Jewish attacks that are happening. You said it's intercommunity violence. It's absolutely not intercommunity violence. What we're seeing is outside organized attacks of Jewish militants, settler militants, who are coming and actually attacking Palestinian homes. They are signing them. They're actually marking Palestinian homes. And going and having organized attacks on houses with the help of the police. In many cases, it's actually, I know it sounds like it's not real, but there are many cases where the police has actually invaded houses in Haifa 2 days ago, and settlers came in after the police, and they actually vandalized the place while the police was there in the private home of Palestinians in Haifa. So that's another thing. The Arab-Palestinian violence, on the other hand, is very similar to what we've seen in 2000, in October 2000, at least within Israel. We are seeing a lot of arson. We are seeing a lot of burning. Palestinians are burning their own cars and their own trash cans. It really is, and obviously there is Palestinian citizens of Israel who are attacking Jewish citizens. That also is happening. However, it's really a very different type of violence. So I wouldn't call it intercommunity violence.
Sally,
So these are the different.
Sure. Sorry, let me stop you there because I do want to get back to that point in a few moments, but I want to go to Yossi now. Yossi, you heard Sally there talk about what's different this time. From your vantage point, how does what is happening now compare to the first and second intifadas?
I think in terms of what's happening inside Israel, it's probably one of the worst that I can recall, if not the worst situation of fights between Jews and Arabs. Because the first intifada and the second intifada were mainly between Israeli military and security forces and Palestinians in the occupied territory. This changed. This is inside Israel proper. And I think this probably should worry all Israelis if it's not actually deteriorating into a civil war. I think this should be a wake-up call when you see lynching, when a Palestinian cemetery is attacked, when a synagogue is set on fire, when there is lynching in the street. That's, I don't think we've seen in the past, and this should worry everyone. And I think Sally is absolutely correct. There were changes in the society that hasn't been addressed. There is a neglect of the Arab society in Israel. And the nation-state law was definitely a watershed in the feeling among the Israelis, Arabs, that they are Palestinians, in the way they feel inside Israel. Because if the state, as the law says, is the same of the Jewish people, and everything that the Jews do is superior to the minority that lives there, they're supposed to be equal citizens, but are not. So what's space left for them to prosper, to become part of the society? And this is one of the things that I think this serves as a wake-up call to both. That's what happens if such a situation evolves. This is the end result of it. And one more thing about it, the police let extreme elements